right there on top of the moon. We could sit and do nothing. I wish we were bold to just fly away. I don't wanna care. Just be here and I'm good alone. I'll be okay, miss you like an old friend. Too scared now, thinking I should.
Good morning, guys. I'm here at Harare Information Center. I'm just inquiring about the city of Harare, how it started to be what it is to be Harare. So if you need all the information, you come to Harare Information Center here along what's this street here? Second Street, eh? And Seminioma, Second Street and Seminioma. So this is the information center. It will tell you how city of Harare came to be. So I'll show you how it came to be. So this was Manika Road, Robert Mugabe, in 1918. Can you believe it? Manika Road, 1915 again. And then we go to Manika Road, First Street, 1908. This was First Street, eh? And then you go to Market Square. This was Market Square, 1903. Market Square. Can you believe it? So this is how the city of Harare came to be. And this was Townhouse, 1902. And also Second Street, Stanley Avenue, 1900. And then we got Jameson, 3rd Street. This was 1902, and this is the copy area, Salisbury, 1889. Can you believe it? Wow, this is amazing. So this was Jameson Avenue, Samora Machel, 1963, and we got Baines Avenue, 1896. Market Square, 1893. Can you believe it? This was Market Square. And we got Pioneer Street, 1891 to 1892. And then we got Pioneer Street again in 1894, and then it changed from 1894. And we used to have cows in the city of Harare, in the city of Salisbury. Wow, this is amazing. And this is the modern one, 1963, Jameson Avenue in Samora Machel. Wow, so come and visit Information Center, the Harare Information Center, and you can have the inside of how Harare was built. And this was Stanley Avenue, Jason Moyo, 1937. Can you believe it? Stanley Avenue, Jason Moyo, 1947. Wow. So if you happen to have the information about the city of Harare, how it came to be, come here at the Harare Information Center along 2nd Street and Seminioma. They've got the history of how Harare was built. It was formerly known as Salisbury. And I can see here we've got a crocodile. I don't know this crocodile, It's here again. There's a showcasing. Maybe probably wildlife of Zimbabwe. Took this crocodile and put it here at the information center. It's a huge one. See you in the next. Good morning, guys. I'm here at Harare Publicity Information Center along 2nd Street Extension and Seminioma. So here we're looking at how Harare, the urban evolution of Harare. And this was Harare a long time ago, and the Harare that we know, where the Reserve Bank is. So this is the evolution of Harare. The urban evolution of Harare. We start with the street. Samora Machel Avenue was known as Jameson Avenue. Julius Nyerere Way was known as King's Way, King's Crescent. Kenneth Kaunda Avenue was known as Railway Avenue. Robert Mugabe is Manika Road. Kagubi Street, Pioneer Street. Harare Street, Salisbury Street. Mbuyane Under Street, Victoria Street, Chinoi Street, Sinoia Streat. Herbert Chitepo Avenue, Rhodes Avenue. Josiah Tongogara Avenue, North Avenue. Jason Chinamano, Montago Avenue. And Mazowe Street was known as Mazowe Street. Jason Monya Avenue, Stanley Avenue. George Solondiga Avenue, Gordon Avenue. Robert Manyika was known as Forbes Avenue. Leopold Takawira was known as Moffat or Milton Avenue. Nelson Mandela Avenue was known as Baker Avenue. Seke Road, Hatfield Road. Chiremba Road, Whitcomb Road. Joshua Kabuko Road, Queensway Airport Road. Simon Nyoma Street, 2nd Street. Kwame Nkrumah, Union Avenue. Simon Mzenda, 4th Street. So we got the now and was, the new old street names. So this was 5 points of reference. So we got the Copy, Presbyterian Church, the Washingtonians, the Name House, and the Dutch Reformed Church. These pictures was shot in 1957. It contains all 5 points of reference. Wow. If you go along Samora Machel Avenue, you see this church here. It's a Dutch Reformed Church. I think it was built in the 1930s. Wow. And it's still standing. If you go along Samora Machel, you see this church. And this was Harare before the settlement. Can you believe it? In 1892, William Harvey Brown, who was the becoming mayor, records being asked what the whites were doing at Harare. Several stories about how the name came about. The most widely accepted in that area was named after Elisa, chief from Seke, Chief Neharawa, who lived on the Copy at one time. So this was Harare. So Chief Neharawa used to own this land here before Harare became what it is now in 1892. So this was Lieutenant Colonel Edward Penfather who entered this settlement here. Was Penfather here. Edward Penfather. So they arrived in 1890 and settled here. The Pioneer Corps, the flagstaff was erected within a few meters of the original site where the Union Jack was first hoisted on a Masasa pole. So this was Salisbury, the capital town of Southern Rhodesia, and the final halting piece of the Pioneer Column, which was guided by Selous and accompanied by Dr. Jameson, arrived here on the September 12th, 1890. On that day, the British flag was hoisted on what is now known as Cecil Square. 1 year after the charter was granted, Rhodes finally came here in 1891 from Beira and returned south to Viberg by ox and mule wagon. During the native rise of 1896, the inhabitants of Salisbury were in a larger and Gaul for 6 weeks until relieved by columns from Bulawayo and Beira. Prior to the advent of the railway, which reached in 1899, all supplies were brought by ox wagon to Salisbury. Go to Market Square, this building still stands. That was the market hall. If you go to Market Square, you'll find this one here. This is the original Gulf in 1990. Where little money buys bulk, the Gulf. This is the building. And up to this day, it stands like this. From here to this little building to this modern building, the Gulf. Arrival of the railway. The first train arrived on May 23, 1899. The first train station was a tiny shed, seen here with the copy in the distance. So that's the copy, and this is the train station. 1899, 1891, and this is 1990. So many changes have happened. This was the Makombe building, the old Makombe building. The first boom of Harare was 1908-1914. So this tree is believed to be the first jacaranda planted in Salisbury or southern Rhodesia, 1900. And I believe this plaque has since disappeared along with the oldest jacaranda. And this is the old Miku's Hotel in 1950. Old Miku's Hotel. Can you believe it? In 1962, fire gutted much of Munumtapa building in 1962, and it was restored to former glory. This is Munumtapa building, and this is how the fire gutted this building in 1962, and it was restored back to its former glory. And this was the State Lottery Hall, 1935. This is the aerial view of the Royal Golf Club in 1940, and this is now in the 1980s. So this pond that you see, which is called the Coronation Pond, was built in 1960. This is 1960. And this was Cleveland House in 1947. And in 1990, this is Cleveland House. So one of the only buildings to maintain its original use in Cleveland House, built for the City Department Works in 1947. From here, 1947, and these are the 90s, still stands as it is. This was the old Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. This is Travel Center, and this is Compensation House. It is hard to believe that the office of the Southern Rhodesian Prime Minister and Cabinet Room were on the 12th floor of the drab-looking Compensation House. Can you believe it? Wow. So this is Pearl House. If you see this light here, normally it's seen. It's a 2,000 watt of light, the Pearl, and it can be seen more than 150 kilometers away in its old glory days, the Pearl House. And this is Livingston House, and this building was designed by a woman called Marion Chatton. So she was one of the only woman in the world who was a fully member of the Institution of Structural Engineers. So she designed this building that you see, Livingston House. The building was fully commissioned in 1960. So in 1967, in December, you see that Beatrice Road flyover was first opened to traffic in November 1961. Can you imagine? In 1961 already we had spaghetti roads. Wow, this is amazing. So this was called Beatrice Road flyover. So I think work began in 1966 and was completed a year later in December 1967. Wow, this is amazing. So can you imagine, in 1961 we had already spaghetti roads. Wow, this is amazing. And this is the parquet. It was opened in 1970. Wow, the parquet before it was built also shows the Southampton House site before construction got underway in October 1969. parkade. This picture shows the two public buildings, government building. There's Makombe building being built and Mukwati building. Harare Salisbury post office was completed in 1978. Can you believe it? Wow. This is Glami Stadium in 1977. Wow. And the Civic Center building in 1970, where the Rotonro Court is. Post-independence, 1980 to 1987. And this is Gargamombe Center. Post-independence. Harare, the Unit Accord, 1988 to 1987. This is Harare. This is Robert Mugabe Road in 1950. Robert Mugabe Road now in the 90s. These are Northfield's flats, one of the prestigious flats in Harare. They were built in 1990 and the project began. So you can see here the project that became known as Northfield, certainly the most prestigious development of flats to take place in the city since the completion of North World in 1970. Wow. Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, the tallest building in the city at 120 meters, was opened on Friday, May 31, 1996 by President Robert Mugabe. 120 meters. RBZ by numbers, 120 meters high, 8 sided, 26 floors, 13 lifts. The floor space is about 42,000 square meters. The total number of bricks which built Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe was 2.5 million bricks. Wow. And concrete, 48,635 square meters. Granite, 14,300 square meters. The glass surface only, it was 12,700 square meters. And the phone lines, they are 1,100. The lights, 7,000. And 4 pumps to ensure basement doesn't flood. Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. Africa Unit Square over the years. Well, this was 1890. The flag rising and parade on the square. Africa Unit Square. Africa Unit Square. Africa Unit Square founded on the 25th of May 1963. Dedicated by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe. So this is Africa Unit Square. It was designed in the form of a Union Jack. Square, the commemoration of the 25th anniversary of the organization of Africa Unit Square founded on the 25th May 1963. Africa Unit Square. See you in the next. This is Robert Mugabe, formerly Manika Road, and that's Manika House. The building was named after Manika Road, and now it's Robert Mugabe Road. That's Ferry Days and Sons Cycles, established in 1910, erected in 1923 along Manika Road. See this flag here, the Union Jack. Right, so the Africa Unit Square was designed as the Union Jack. This is Cecil Square. So see this flag here, sorry, this flag, that's the Union Jack. The Union Jack. And if you go to Cecil Square, it was designed as the Union Jack. The park that you see. The park that you see was developed in 1971. And the design of this park was the Union Jack flag. 5 architects that transformed the skyline of Harare. James Cobb Christ in 1870 to 1953. Roy Densam. These are the architectures that developed Harare. Mike Hess. Clinton. These are the guys that designed Harare. Five architects who designed Harare: Mike Clinton, Mike Pess, Sam, James Cobb Christ. This is the tunnel of jacarandas along Leopold Takawira Avenue. See, it's a tunnel of jacarandas. The tree that you see here was the original tree which Mbuyananda was executed in the 1960s. So this was the tree, and then it fell. At nearly 2 kilometers, Josiah Chinamano Avenue contains the longest line of jacarandas in the city, which are now mostly over 100 years old. So this is about 2 kilometers of jacarandas along Josiah Chinamano, and these are 100 years old. Another yellow flamboyant jacaranda here, and this is red jacaranda and yellow jacaranda. This is the Catholic Cathedral. It was done in 1879. The towers are 25 meters high. In 1969, Monomtapa Hotel was built by Rhodesian breweries at a cost of £195,000. It goes back to who was Monomtapa. Monomtapa is one of the many Europeans corrupt of Monomtapa, the master Ravenger, the title of the Mashona monarch who ruled over northern Zimbabwe from the 15th to the 17th century. So this hotel was named after him, the Monomtapa Hotel. And this is St. George's College, construction in the late 1920s. The future. And now what's of the future? That is The Hands of God by James Cobb Christ, 1944, the guy who designed Harare. So let's hope, Harare will change its tall rising buildings to modern city like Dubai. So it's all about in the hands of God. That's the future of Harare. This is the urban evolution of Harare, with over 1,000 historical and contemporary photographs of Harare in the book Just the History of Zimbabwe, capital from its establishment in 1870 to present. It is the first major work of the city history in nearly 3 decades and captures much of the development of after independence. This book has got rich history, and I'm told there are only 4 left in Harare. We need to put this book on Google. Let's hope one of these days someone will put this book on Google so that we can have the information about the urban evolution of Harare. Let's push for this book to be, we want this book to be on Google. I'm told there are only about 4 or 5 copies left. So let's hope this book will be on Google so that we can have rich information, so that our younger generation will learn on how the urban evolution of Harare started. God bless you. See you in the next. So, having visited the Harare Publicity Association, so I'm signing the visitor's book. Today is the 23rd of May 2023. So I'm signing this visitor's book, 23 May 2023. Welcome to Harare Information Center, Harare Publicity Association, along Second Street Extension, and Jason Moyo, where Pick and Pay is.